Sophie, with the candidates, can you take one?
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
and three.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh? There you go.
Okay, okay, group picture.
Yeah, come on over. I don't. Oh, a couple of them are. No, 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 they're going. They're going. Go, Luch, go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Come on, come on, come on. There you go. All right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Oh, awesome.
Oh, just in time.
All right.
No, I was gonna say hi to
Nice little haircut. Perfect timing.
Take your seat.
So thank you everyone for participating. We are going to be going live the moment that we're done with this sound check. So just to talk through with you all, you don't have to worry about where the cameras are. If you're speaking to any camera, speak to this one. This will be the one to get you all up as candidates. The questions are going to be up over here, but if you're able to avoid looking over at it and try to address the audience, that would be great. One thing to note is that the microphones are for the broadcast and for recording. They're not going to be amplified here in space. So you'll need to project a little bit, speak to the back of the room just to make sure folks can hear you. But luckily, even though there's clinics here, it's not like where the audio is Yes.
If for whatever reason, those all stated and comfortable and standards off, isn't that a problem?
I think that unless anybody has an issue with that, that seems pretty basic. Yeah. So if everybody is good with it, we're just going to do a quick sound check. I'm going to be checking in with my engineer over here just to make sure. So folks actually wouldn't mind. Sam, if you go first, actually just give me a 10 count and
one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Una, dos, tres, cuatro. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You go. You have to keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't think I know the alphabet.
Actually, okay, there we go. Thank you so much. If you can give me a 10 count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There we go. If you could do
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
there.
1, 2, 3.
Because he wasn't.
All right. Do we have a volunteer to test out the microphone that you'll all be handing back and forth?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Well, got it. Okay, terrific. So, unless there's anything else, I think we're good to go.
Yep.
Okay, great. So I will give you a sign from the other room. You can take the graphic down and then we'll start recording.
Okay.
I don't want to move too much because there's
Yes.
10%.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 City Council at Large Candidate Forum, sponsored by Lowell Votes and LTC. My name is Yasmin Walpafard. I am a Lowell resident, the Lowell Votes Coalition Coordinator, and also your moderator for this evening. We have a packed schedule for you tonight, but before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about Lowell Votes. Lowell Votes is a nonpartisan grassroots coalition working to increase civic education, participation, and government accountability in the city of Lowell. We offer a series of civic education trainings, including CERT, an emerging candidate training program for those looking to run for office. We also produce and distribute educational materials about local democracy, civics, who is running, and the annual voter guide, and conduct targeted door knocking and phone banking to help increase voter turnout in neighborhoods where turnout has been historically low. Last year, the coalition knocked on close to 13,000 doors in Lowell and made over 20,000 phone calls to Lowell voters. Through this work, we aim to provide residents with the tools, opportunities, and support they need to harness their power and make the change they want to see in Lowell. You can learn more about Lowell Votes work at lowellvotes.org and on our Facebook, Instagram at Lowell Votes. Now let's get to our forum tonight. All questions asked in this forum were generated with resident input and part of an extensive effort to make voting easy, interactive, and fun. A note that the purpose of this forum is to provide a platform for residents to engage with their candidates on issues that are important to them in order to make an informed decision at the polls. This is not a debate. We ask that audience members joining us be respectful. Clapping is welcomed, but heckling will not be tolerated. With that, I'll pass it over to our candidates and open up the floor for candidate introductions and opening statements. Candidates will get 1 minute each, and we'll start in alphabetical order with candidate Belanger.
Thank you. For starters, I would like to thank LTC and Lowell Votes for this opportunity as a candidate. My name is Corey Belanger. I am running at large for City Council. I was on the council from 2014 to 2017 previously, and prior to that on the Zoning Board of Appeals, 2003 to 2013. If elected, my top priorities will be addressing the homeless, opioid, and mental health crisis that plagues our city, as well as holding the line on taxes and, of course, public safety, assuring every street, every block is clean and safe. My philosophy is very simple. What I want to do is that citywide council is focused on the large, big picture items, all the while working very closely with your district councilors, working with the issues that affect you the most. So I humbly ask for one of your 3 votes on November 7th. Thank you.
Candidate Gitcher.
Thank you, Lowell Votes, LTC, for hosting. My name is Eric Gitcher. Currently, I have been one of the 11 city councilors representing our great city. 2 years ago, I made a promise to the voters. I promised to bring their voice to City Hall, along with 32 years of municipal experience in getting the job done. I was confident that I would be a strong advocate for our residents in the city. Based on my strong background in engineering, municipal finance, sustainability, and knowledge of our community and city operations. Today, I still believe these qualities are needed more than ever in our city as a city councilor. Over the next hour, it is my hope that I will be able to share my thoughts, experiences, and dreams for our city, a city that desperately needs a strong voice for all residents, one that holds government accountable, capital plans for our future, and is fiscally responsible. Today, I respectfully ask for one of your 3 votes for City Council at large so I can continue to serve our great city. Thank you again for hosting this event.
Candidate Mercier.
Thank you very much. First, let me begin by thanking LTC and Lowell Votes and also the residents that are here this evening watching this. Thank you so much. You could be anywhere else, but yet you chose to be here with us so that you could make a wise vote when it comes to November 7th on Tuesday. And I hope that one of those votes are mine. Thank you. But I just want to say that I'm Rita Mercier. I'm running at large. Don't gasp when I tell you, but I've been in office for 28 years and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I'm merely a messenger. That's all I am, a messenger. I bring your concern to City Hall and I get things done. I might not make 75 motions, but I do my job. I pick up the phone and I place the call and I get it done. Thank you so much. I enjoy being here. Enjoy the rest of the event here.
Candidate Noon.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you to Lowell LTC for hosting the event tonight and all of you here and at home. I'm here because of your support. You elect me to be here. I'm running for re-election at large to my 5th term on the council. You believe in me on the issues that face our city, the challenge that we face, affordable housing, homelessness, economic development downtown and the rest of the district, public safety, and more. We need everyone to work together to address this issue. I will be one of the 11 councilors. I'm running at large, so I'm asking for one of your 3 votes come November 7th. Thank you.
Candidate Tubielli.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you to Lowell Votes and LTC for having us. My name is Bobby Tubielli, and I am a candidate again for Lowell City Council at large. I ran for the first time 2 years ago as a first-time candidate, and behind 3 strong incumbents, I came in 4th place, and I'm very proud of that opportunity. It's an honor, and I'm proud of getting the trust of thousands of Lowellians. I'm running again because I believe this city can do better. I think that's the message. I think we can do better, and I know we can do better. I think we need new blood. I think we need a fresh vision for this city. I think we need to be more, we need more prosperity in our downtown, in our businesses. I'm a business owner myself. I'm a downtown resident. And I am honored to be able to talk about all issues relating to making sure that our businesses thrive and our residents feel Lowell is a place for them. Thank you.
Candidate Oy.
Thank you, Jasmine, and I want to thank you for moderating this event tonight. So thank you, Low Votes. And my name is Virak Oy. Good evening, everyone. And I'm running for City Council because I believe it's an opportunity for me to expand on the work that I've been doing as an educator as well as a community activist. And as I reflect back over the past 3 years, our community have had a profound impact because of COVID. As we emerge from COVID, we face many challenges, but also great opportunities lies ahead. So I'm running not just about the problems, but I'm running looking forward to the opportunities. Both big and action matters. Every street lights, every potholes, every parks, every classrooms, and every businesses lays the foundation for a better quality of life for all our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. We're now going to move into our first round of our candidate question and answer. For this round, we have 3 questions, and candidates will each get 1 minute to answer, starting in alphabetical order again. Now I'll pass to our questioners, Liz and Luciano, to read out the first question.
What do you believe are the primary responsibilities of a city councilor, and what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
Thank you, Liz. Number one, my top priority is going to be public safety. Assuring every neighborhood, every block is clean and safe. That's what the taxpayers are due, and that's what they are owed, and that's what you're going to get from me. But we also, where I feel we are lagging, is economic development. The city of Lowell, as mentioned earlier, really our downtown struggling, our business corridors need assistance, and we have the Hamilton Canal District that looks eerily similar than when I left the council in 2017. So what we need to do is drum up businesses in that parcel. Okay, it's been sitting idle for far too long. So we need to get very aggressive in attracting businesses to the city, offering incentives to bring businesses and jobs, construction jobs in the meantime, to get this parcel active, to get taxpayers the relief. Now, it's not something we talk about when I go door to door or in the public. But this is how we're going to offer the home taxpayer relief by new tax growth, and that's what I will make a top priority. Thank you.
Candidate Kitcher.
Thank you. I believe that the City Council's top responsibility is policy making and budgeting, and everything branches off of that. Public safety, our schools, our roads, safe drinking water, how we actually deal with social issues also. So we have to properly budget things, and we also have to properly have people at the department head levels that actually support the outcome that we want. And over the last year, I have pushed for our fire stations to be open, so they aren't closed anymore. And what that does is they're 911 people, so they go to 911 calls now, and it gives them more sense. We also push for more public safety in our police cars. We also push for our schools to fix the HVAC units and give us a real maintenance plan. Our roads I pushed for. I believe our roads are a key also. We don't want to just call in potholes. We actually want to make sure they don't become potholes, so we need to go by maintenance plans, and I've pushed that for the last year and 9 months that I've been on. I believe we need to hold people accountable, and I believe that as a budget, I was the only one who voted against tax increases, and I believe that there was room in the budget that we could have made substantial changes that would have worked without adding a 9% increase.
Candidate Mercier.
Thank you very much. If you look at the planning form of government, we do have three primary responsibilities as a city councilor. One is to hire or fire a city manager. We have done that. I think we did a great job in hiring who our present city manager is. To set policy in the form of ordinances, but we can set all the ordinances and establish them all day long. If we don't enforce them, we're in major trouble, and sometimes that happens and it's not acceptable. Third thing is to set the budget, and we do that. But I know from going door to door and talking to people, they want to be safe in their city. They want the city to be clean, and they want us to fix the roadways, and this is the main thing that everybody asks for. I try to do that, so I just want to thank you. That's what we do. Thank you.
Candidate Noon.
Thank you. My colleague already mentioned as far as responsibility, budget, and set priority. A priority around, let's pick one, priority around affordable housings and homelessness. Clearing encampment, having a protocol clearing encampment, it's a good thing for safety, but need to have a plan. Kicking the can down the road is not going to solve the homelessness issue, okay, or affordable housing issue. We need to do more. We need to bring all the provider, all the player together into the room, like we did when we set housing first as priority, and having those meetings and working with our partner, whether we disagree with individual idea or not, bring them to the table because they are our partner, and working toward addressing these homeless issues, because I believe that we can. It may not be low issue as original issue, then bring the original, bring the state, bring every one player to the table. Blaming is not the answers to it.
Candidate Tubielli.
Great question. Primary responsibilities are centered around accessibility. Everyone in this city has a what about me. Whether you live in a neighborhood, you're a newcomer, or you've been here all your life. You see Lowell as some place to thrive in, and you want your leaders to listen. And so I think the primary responsibility of a city councilor is to be a really good listener and to be accessible. And they are not going to always have all the answers, but they're going to point you in the direction. And Councilor Mercier is right. Primary responsibility is to hire a really good, effective city manager and to support that person and to ensure that person is successful and that their team is successful and to give them the tools to be successful. My background in human resources and hiring makes me a value add in those areas of hiring, retention, and making sure that we have the best team available to get things done. Thank you.
Candidate Uy.
Yeah, I see our primary responsibility as a city councilor is really to improve the quality of life for all Lowellians. And to do that, as a city councilor, I will work collaboratively with the city manager, other city councilors, as well as the school committee to address our educational issues, mental health, housing, as well as our diversity and equity inclusion issues to make sure that we increase access and dismantle any barriers that impact other underrepresented communities. So I think these are the overarching responsibility as a city councilor. And I agree with Bobby that we're here to listen, and it's our responsibility to galvanize all the stakeholders in order to address all of these issues.
We're going to move on to our next question, and we're going to start with Eric Gitcher this time.
Okay, so the next question is, earlier this month, the Cayenne Street encampment was cleared, displacing dozens of unhoused residents, making it the fourth encampment this year to be vacated by the city. Housing insecurity on the rise, and what is your plan to create more affordable housing in the city? How can we better serve currently unhoused residents?
Thank you for your question. When you look at tax increases, it has a direct impact on renters. People who invest in properties and they get tax increases, it basically is a shared cost that gets sent to the renter. So right off the bat, we have to manage budgets better and make sure that we're not passing on costs now, bringing more people into the unaffordable housing. We have to go to the state and have them recognize that we have the largest social service network in one area, and we're being sent here, so we need help on this issue. So they need to come in and start providing. We gave back $3.5 billion to taxpayers rather than plan on how we were going to solve issues because it was a feel-good moment for re-election time. We need to plan better, and with all the municipal experience I have and being a civil engineer, when you look at all the issues, you have to have real solutions, not feel-good for the moment solutions. And I do believe we do get taxed enough to make these things happen. And how do we do that? We have to offset these taxes, bring them down so it's affordable for the people who are currently renting so they don't become homeless. We're driving more and more people out of our area and bringing more and more from outside our area into those rentals because they can afford it. Thank you.
Candidate Mercier.
Thank you very much. This is a very interesting question, but I want to set the record straight and say, yes, there was a team that went out to Cayenne Street under the bridge, and they did clean that out, and it was the fourth encampment that they cleaned. Please don't think that they just make a sweep and put people out of their tents and leave them vulnerable. They do not. I worked for the sheriff for 19 years. The sheriff, in his kindness, had the people, the co-op team, go out there, and they have an office in our building. They go out there. I see. They brought every organization that they could possibly find to offer them housing, to offer them services. They didn't just, they gave them strict warning they were coming. If they didn't get into the housing, it's because they didn't want to. We had it all planned. They had a plan to help the people, not just to be insensitive.
Candidate Noon.
Thank you. It's a good question. I touched on it a little bit earlier in terms of clear the encampment. I agree. Cayenne Street encampment, clearing the fourth encampment. Before Cayenne Street was South Lowell, or South Common, right? Even before that, how we clear the encampment, we don't have protocol. Early notice and all that stuff. So since the first clear of encampment, because of safety, not just safety to the unhoused, but also safety to the resident, we have protocol. We have to do it in very compassion, respect to the homeless. But more than that, we need a plan. Clear encampment, like I said, it's not the solution. And having more housing is important. Working with our partners, like CBA, not just housing, but also a wraparound kind of service where you have detox provided downstairs or mental health and all that. And housing first initiative is important. You don't go to, if you go to the shelter before, they're going to ask for whether you have detox issues or mental health. Now it's not the case. We need to bring back the housing first initiative. We need to reconvene that meeting of all stakeholders. It's important.
Thank you. homeless people and housed people need homes. That is the root cause. We are facing a housing crisis, and there are a lot of other issues that play a role into having folks be unhoused. Mental health, drug addiction, whole host of issues. But the primary goal here is to make sure that there is housing. This is not an overnight issue. We have been talking about housing insecurity in this nation for decades. In 1979, Governor Edward King talked about restrictive zoning, talked about exclusionary zoning, and that we have to do more as a Commonwealth to increase housing production. And so if we do not address housing, we will see more of this. We cannot blame each other. Housing advocates, homeless advocates, and the city, we all have to work together, but housing is the key.
So, definitely, it requires a comprehensive and thoughtful approach in order to address the housing issue in our community. I feel like it's, as a lot of the candidates I mentioned earlier, it's going to require all the stakeholders from various sectors to develop a comprehensive plan to address this challenge. But I think in terms of some strategies, I think we definitely need to prioritize existing affordable housing units through partnership with landlords, property owners, and nonprofit organization, implement the inclusionary zoning, enforce the zoning policy that requires new development to include a certain percentage of affordable housing units. And definitely we need to focus on the community land trusts, establishing community land trusts to secure land for affordable housing and ensure its long-term affordability.
All right, we're going to move on to our next question, and we're going to start. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Candidate Belanger.
Yes, as a candidate, we are watching in on this homeless crisis all too well, believe me, as you all are. Okay, now, as far as cleaning up Cayenne Street, the 4th encampment, I want to make it clear that, look, I do support the council and the administration for this actions, so long as it's done in a humane, dignified manner, which I believe it was in this case. But here is the plan. We don't have enough housing. That's no secret, okay? So here's what I want to do to address the affordable housing situation. Okay, with the cost of construction costs and the interest rates, people, please consider the interest economics to doing affordable housing. Okay, what we need to do is work very closely with our state delegation to seek out gateway city grants. They're there for the taking. We got to go after it. Now, what we do is deliver that to the city. We can now work with developers, give them grants to defray the costs of construction. Now we can bound them to affordable housing units. Follow me? They can't do this without subsidies. That's my goal, and that's what I will achieve if elected. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the next question, and we're going to start with Councilor Mercier.
According to a CTI community needs assessment conducted from 2021 to 2023, transportation was listed in the top 5 unmet needs for Lowell residents. How will you improve public transportation in the city so that we have reliable, accessible, and available bus service?
First of all, we're trying to get some bus service on Sundays so the seniors can at least find a way to get to the senior center and have a decent meal. So it isn't just the it's the poor as well as people living in an apartment and they still rather need services. And a lot of elderly do not have fare. So they can compete with transportation. How could I solve this?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you get my time back on, right? Thank you. Just can't reclaim my time, right? So, yes, transportation is an issue. I know that the council have urged the managers to work with our transportations, the transportation people as well as the nonprofits to help working with, those organizations like Bridge Club and others to making sure that the transportation not only from Monday to Friday, but also provide a weekend and maybe schedules that reflected the need of the community. We're going forward. That's what we're going to try to urge for more, and so that's it.
Excellent question. 2010, the city brought in a planner by the name of Jeff Speck, and he came up with a downtown evolution plan. And part of that downtown evolution plan centered transportation. It is now 2023. And so the fact that we're having this conversation around lack thereof is really a leadership issue, okay? It is not a planning problem because the plans are there. This is a leadership issue. We have taken our eyes off the ball. And so as your next city councilor, one of the things that I would really focus on is dusting off those old plans and seeing what made sense, what doesn't make sense. Because it is unheard of in a city as large as Lowell, as diverse as Lowell, as socioeconomically diverse, as you look at folks who have disability, accessibility issues. Councilor Mercier talked about seniors. There are so many issues around transportation, but we need leaders who are going to stick to a plan and make sure it's executed. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the topic on transportation is definitely an access issue. We need to do a better job at expanding, increasing the number of buses and routes to encourage to provide access to those who cannot afford to buy a car. Not all of us can afford to buy a car, especially with the high gasoline prices these days. And in doing so, if we can improve our transportation access for all people, we are also reducing the carbon emission climate issue as well. So I think this is an important issue, and so we really need to work hard on finding ways to allocate our funding to make this happen.
Candidate Belanger.
Thank you. Yes, the transportation is most certainly an ongoing issue, but we're provided by a bus service, the LRTA, which is a federally funded bus service that serves not only Lowell, but approximately 8 or 9 other outlying communities. So we really don't have too much say. I mean, the council, we can deliberate all day long. We do have one representative on the board that represents Lowell that can strongly advocate for such that, there's one avenue. But what we need to do is, I think, reach out to our Congresswoman. As I said, it's all about partnerships and relationships that we've built. Okay, we can reach out to Congresswoman Trahan, say our constituents, your constituents need help here. We need better transportation, extended hours. Could you potentially seek additional grants for us and help us out? But we can't forget, the other multimodal forms of transportation. Bicycles, walkability, very important. We need to walk there, but we can't afford not to. It helps out economically, and it makes life a lot more convenient for Lowellians. So, but we can't forget our elderly and disabled residents too, as they need help as well. So it's most certainly a challenge, but I believe we can improve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I believe we do have leadership on the council. About 3 months ago, I went to the LRTA, and the person in charge is Mr. Bradley, and I said to him, UMass Amherst has a great system that incorporates their college and their public transportation together. And I think those talks need to happen between UMass Lowell and LRTA. And I asked them to reach out to each other to try to start seeing where do we have overlaps? Is there a way that we can do this better in our city and create more of a platform for it? And all along, what we've been looking at also, I've put in for sidewalk improvements so that we can actually have a better public transportation system. Between the ADA compliance ramps, the sidewalks that have cracks in them, we just had a packet that a lady was walking down the street. She hit one of the curbs, fell down, and broke her front teeth. So I think we need to get better at a lot of things, and public transportation certainly is one of them. But I think that the whole premise to it is we have to work together with the university. They have a public transportation system. We have one. We're overspending in that system, and we need to work together to figure that piece out. And they have the engineers to do it with us. Thank you.
I was informed that we didn't actually catch candidate Mercier's response to the question. Would you mind delivering your response again?
Oh, no. So I broke the microphone and I'm punished by saying it again. Okay, does anybody out there remember what I said? Transportation is a very important issue, and as everyone said, I concur. But I will say that I am a member of the Bridge Club of Greater Lowell, and I know how important transportation is because we have people that are getting out of jail. They need a place to live. They need a job to sustain that house, apartment to live in. So we not only provide them with these services there, we also provide them with a job. And it's not worth if they have a job and they don't have a way to get there. So we provide the transportation to get there as well. We also have a success story in one of the gentlemen that we were providing transportation for quite some time ended up buying his own car. So there's one less person that we have to provide transportation for. So that's a good thing. So thank you very much. Did you hear that one? Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to give me your minute.
Okay. We're going to move on to our speed round. The speed round consists of two sections, the yes or no section and the knowledge section. We're going to start off with our yes or no section, and we have our questioners coming out. For the yes or no section, our questioners will ask, we don't need that, a series of yes or no questions, which all of the candidates will answer using our yes or no signs. Candidates are not allowed to elaborate further and can only respond using the yes or no signs. I'm going to our questioners to ask the first question. One more.
So more than a year ago, the City Council began to explore the possibility of creating accessory dwelling units, ADUs. Ordinance in the city, the change in the ordinance allow homeowners to build small housing units within or as it stands, 2/3 of the city is zoned exclusively for traditional single-family homes. Do you support changing those ordinance to allow for ADUs?
Next question.
Currently, the City of Lowell has no term limits for City Council. Would you support term limits for City Councilors?
Next question. No.
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 So the Hindi Municipal Administration is in discussion with UMass Lowell about the state potentially using the Inn and Conference Center to temporarily house the influx of immigrants, families entering the state's emergency shelter system. Do you support the use of the Inn and Conference Center to temporarily house immigrants families?
Thank you, candidates. We're going to move on to the knowledge section. Do you mind if I get the whiteboards? For the second and final section of our speed round, the candidates will put their knowledge of Lowell to the test by answering a series of questions about the demographics and people of Lowell. All candidates will answer every question by writing down their answers on their whiteboard. Candidates will have 30 seconds to respond and hold up their whiteboard before our questioners read out the correct answer. Yep. Okay. First question.
According to a report published by the Community Teamworks in 2022, what percentage of Lowell renters pay more than 30% of their monthly income on rent? No, that's what I'm saying.
Look for a percentage.
We do have the answer.
Show your whiteboards.
All of us close. Trust me.
The answer is 55%. We do have a napkin.
Next question.
Do we have? There should be an eraser back there.
So if you have questions, you have to
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep it.
All right, so according to Lowell Public Schools, what are the three most prominent languages other than English spoken in?
Please hold up your answers. And questioners. The correct answers are Khmer, Spanish, and Portuguese. Next question.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, what percentage of Lowell residents rely on public transportation as their primary form of transportation?
The correct answer is 4.1%.
Oh, Rita, you're good.
I know Lowell.
You do.
I should. I'm the Lowell.
That was fun. That's very interesting. Thank you for that question.
All right, so what percentage of registered voters in Lowell voted in the 2021 municipal election?
Percentage.
Percentages.
Municipal election.
The correct answer is 17.9%.
I know, I do.
So according to housing websites like Zillow, Sucker, and Rent Cafe, what is the average monthly cost of rent for one bedroom apartment?
The correct answer is $2,000.
One bedroom? One bedroom. I guess we do need affordable housing. I know that point. Interesting questions, thank you.
Yes. Okay. We're going to move on to the second round of our candidate question and answer. For this round, we also have 3 questions, and candidates will get 1 minute each per question. We'll start with Councilor Noon, and I'll pass it on to the questioners to ask the first question.
What actions would you support to make meaningful progress on increasing diversity and inclusion, decreasing nepotism, and improving the culture in Lowell Snowfield?
It's a good question, huh? Well, recently, the council voted to hire an outside firm to do a comprehensive assessment on the hiring practice. We came back out. We decided to have, first things we need to do is hiring DEI officers, right? With DEI officers, I believe that we need to train, we have to have a policy procedure in the hiring practice that with the lens of DEI, right? So we need to look at recruiting for more diverse population, diverse worker in the city of Lowell. As now, and by far, we are not getting there yet. We are too far away. We need to have DEI officers working with the manager and the HR to have that policies in place and making sure that we stick to that policy. Thank you.
Great question. So historically, myself and many others in the community were deeply invested in ensuring that this actually happened. And I'm proud of that work, and I'm proud of this council for advancing that work. And so as city councilor, meaningful progress has to be centered around process. Not just having a plan, but process and accountability. As I mentioned in a previous response, we have too many plans, and sometimes we don't do a good job of executing on them. And so I want to make sure that we're looking at that HR audit and the 19 recommendations. 19. My question is, how many recommendations have we gotten to today from this council? And so I would want to make sure that we're moving forward on that. And the last piece, as an HR professional, and the only HR professional in this panel, is looking at culture and wanting to make sure that Lowell and the city is a place that everybody feels that they're being treated fairly. And that's the operative word, fair. Thank you.
Yeah, as Bobby talked about, Bobby and I has been on the Lowell DEI consortium that brought about advocacy towards pushing to get an DEI audit across the Lowell school system, as well as within the municipality departments as well. So I'm proud of the work that we did together along with other members of the DEI consortium about, I think it was like 2-3 years ago, when we declared racism is a public health crisis. And as a current interim director of the Truth Racial Healing, I believe that we need to create more spaces so that, and opportunities so that people have space to have dialogues about race and social justice, so that we can foster empathy and expand the capacity for advancing social and racial justice and equity. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, back in the spring, what's included in my campaign announcement is a pledge to the residents of Lowell that the City of Lowell's hiring practices will be fair and equitable, in that our staff, our boards, and commissions will highly reflect our diverse population. Very, very important. As an employee of the Commonwealth for over 7 years now, I know the value of a diverse workforce. So that is something that I pledge to, and I want the voters to hold me to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. This council has made great strides in this. It started with I put in a motion for the applicant tracking system through HR so that we could actually see where are we going. You can't make decisions without data. Everybody says one thing, but who's applying and what are we getting out of that batch? How do we reach more people? So we tried to do that, and we went to HR and said, okay, where do we put these postings so we reach different cultures, different backgrounds? And we also did racism as a public health crisis. This council passed 11-0 on a motion that I made. I think that we are moving forward, and there's always work to do in HR. I've been a supervisor in municipal government for the last 12 years. I do the hiring. I get the applicants, and the best way to actually do it right is you pass out those applicants to multiple people to go through with no decision until they come back with who they want to see interviewed, because it's their team that they're working with. It's their people they're working around. If you want a successful government, you have to work hard on HR, but you have to work hard on environments that they work within, and I believe that this council worked extremely hard at doing that.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, Councilor Eric Gitchia is right. We did do a lot on DEI issues, and we hired an outside firm, Clifton Larson Allen, to complete a comprehensive assessment of the city's HR function and the DEI initiative. That was the report was completed in July of 2021. It provided a roadmap for the city to enhance the DEI efforts that would reflect the workforce, and we hired a chief diversity, equity, and inclusion officer in the name of Belle Dominguez. So we're very grateful that she had accepted that position, and we are further doing everything we can to engage and outreach for available jobs positions and on boards and commissions. So I think we're headed in the right direction in this aspect. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, and there was a Middlesex Community College training for all the City Hall staff. Thank you.
We'll move on to the next question, and we'll start with candidate Tubielli.
It's a great question. The topic of the day is centered around housing, and I think the $4 million allocated via ARPA, which was, I believe, an increase of $2 million from the former administration. So I do want to credit this administration for upping that allocation, but I think we can do more, and I think we need to do more with respect to housing. We are already partnering with organizations like Merrimack Valley Housing Partnership in terms of funding small businesses, first-time home buyer, thank you, business on my mind, first-time home buyer programs. And there's more that can be done with that. So specifically, my plan would be centered around increasing the allocation for housing and housing assistance programs. That we need to be very focused in terms of what's going to lead us towards prosperity. And if people do not have homes, they cannot work. And if people cannot work, they cannot spend money on making sure that they're taking care of themselves and their families. Housing needs to be prioritized, and that's what I would do.
You know, I think money well spent if we could offer free college community education to all Lowellians. I think is a good use of that ARPA money, because it's a way for all of our Lowellians, an opportunity for them to get job training, achieve their educational goals and career goals, and it would address a lot of issues around housing because they'll be able to make livable wages. And I would also use that money to address mental health issues. And I think definitely education is the issue because I think it will increase economic mobility. And I think COVID has had a profound impact on our community. And a lot of us are still healing from that process. We lost a lot of friends and family. So I think mental health is a big issue in addition to housing and education. So,
Candidate Belanger.
Thank you. Well, earlier in the debate, we talked about affordable housing, and I talked about subsidies that developers need in order to rent their units at a discounted rate. Well, here is another avenue. Okay, this is another avenue I would pursue to help developers. That way we can contractually bind a developer to renting out at affordable price. So this is a great avenue to do that. And one thing we need to do from, going door to door, I've come across a lot of school teachers around the city who are frustrated with the maintenance, the heat, and the air conditioning and the conditions of the building. So school building maintenance, we need to put some money, allocate some money to that. I'd be in support of. We also need some infrastructure. Okay, sidewalks, it's a lot of money, but where it's needed the most, I would be for putting some of this money towards our infrastructure. Because that's difficult, because other than that, it's totally dependent on the taxpayer, which would result in a huge, huge tax increase. So I've got some definite ideas for this money. It's only going to be around once, so we've got to be very wise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think as we start looking into government, we have to understand what ARPA actually is. ARPA is the American Rescue Plan. You can only use those funds in certain ways. You can't dream up and let's pull it and push it here. So a lot of it's emergency stuff like water and sewer and offsetting costs like that. So what I did when I came in is I asked them to put more money towards fire trucks. Our fire equipment is aged out. It's 15 years. All of it is over 15 years in age. So what I did is I asked that they purchase all new fire trucks to get them back into the age group. So then that offsets the tax base in the future so you don't have to make those purchases. I also asked that we put more money into the water and sewer infrastructure so we could stop flooding issues and do other things like that. So those allocations are not already tied into that $24 million. There's $10 million alone in fire trucks that is not part of that number. So when we start looking at numbers, we can't just spend that money any way we want, like you've heard. If I had a dream list and I had that kind of money, I would say, okay, let's dream and we can use it this way. But that's not what ARPA was about.
Thank you very much. ARPA was a godsend of $76 million to help the city of Lowell. And we have more to spend. We did spend about $24 million, but the rest is going to be spent on streets and sidewalks, upgrades for the water and sewer infrastructure, upgrades for the fire station and the police department, upgrade for the parks, and it hits every single park in the city of Lowell. There's not enough time to say, but when we talk about housing, we talk about the money that we allocated for the certain areas. Acre Crossing, 33 units, 17 of which will be home ownership. 555 Merrimack Street, 25 units for sober living. 733, 735 Broadway, 53 units of affordable housing there. CBA, and we have young Jude Choi here, and I'm telling you that we're going to spend money for 138 Cross Street, which will house 12 to 14 units. All this adds up. Thank you for partaking in the housing. Thank you.
Thank you. The ARPA fund is a one-time allocation. Thus far, we've been using that fund very fairly to address a number of areas and districts that hasn't been addressed in the past. Park improvement, neighborhood improvements, that's what we have done. And I think also Councilor Kuchia and Councilor Musia is correct. And using those money, there's a way to use that money. You can't just use money for anything and everything you want it. There's criteria. This is a federal government funding. With regard to the allocation thus far that we're talking about, $4 million to address housing issues, we could do more, and we need to do more. This is a priority of this council going forward. There's not saying that this $4 million allocation, this is it. there'll be discussion. The next council will have discussion as to how much more we need to put into. I would first put into the nonprofit that addressing this issue, and then the second will be the developer, because I do trust the nonprofit more than I do trust the developer, because the nonprofit have the heart of the community first.
On to our third question, and candidate, we will start.
Yeah, I think the local economic issue has been long been something that I feel like it's been kicked down the road, or it's an issue that we've been trying to address. A lot of the storefronts, a lot of the restaurants have opened up and have left, and we need to do a better job as a city, as a government, to find ways to support entrepreneurs and really focus on providing some incentives for them, whether it's tax incentives or rental incentives, so that they can do a better job at focusing on the operational costs in order to offer good services for their customers, better products, whether it's restaurants or retail shops. But I think one of the challenges is also parking. We need to provide better parking access for our businesses in downtown Lowell. And so I think I would focus on incentives and parking issues.
Candidate Belanger.
Thank you. You know, as we all know, our downtown is struggling. Okay, it is no secret. But the thing is, we have to improve with the basics, with cleanliness and safety, and deal with vagrancy that have been sort of a hindrance over the years. That have, you know, many people that I've talked to and my other candidates have talked to, that people are discouraged from coming downtown. So we have to start with the basics and do a lot of cleanup down there to make it more attractive to businesses, for starters. But with that being said, we do have many incentives in the city. Lowell Plan is a quasi city agency right here in Suffolk Street in Lowell that offers low interest loans with no down payment. That's very helpful. That we can work with UMass Lowell entrepreneurship programs to create some starter-ups. I know we looked at that when I was on the council. But there is a way. I have hope. I am optimistic. But where we're at now, we certainly have work to do. And as a former downtown businessman for 15 years, I know what it's like to write a paycheck every week and the day in and day out operations of business. So I think I can be very helpful in this aspect if elected. Thank you.
Thank you. When I look at the downtown business and I look at the economic development through the years, I have to think that it was a poor plan all along. They started renting out everything to government agencies, and most people who own properties don't want to see a government agency leave because they get their rent every month over and over again. So what does that do? It closes at a certain time and it brings a certain clientele down here. We have to start moving them out to other areas and starting to try to fill it back with prospects and businesses that will work down there. We can't just keep in the school department. We pay $400,000 a year down here in a prime piece of real estate. We need to find a spot in the city that the city owns and capture those funds so that we can actually use them in a way that will actually develop the downtown. And as we start using those funds in, you'll see the downtown will clean up. But the problem is that our economic development plan, we didn't read anything. When something was empty, we filled it with a government agency or a nonprofit. And that's what comes down here now. And that's why people are down here doing this. If we start moving along with real economic development plans, we can clean that up.
Yes, that's another interesting question. Thank you very much. When I think of the downtown, I think of the heart of the city. I think that it isn't just about business. I think it's a neighborhood as well. It's a very progressive, very excellent place. It's just that we do have some problems, and we met not too long ago, just the other day, with some businesses. A lady owned a spa. She said that one of her clients was in the car and 3 people were around the car trying to get money off her. She wasn't coming out. So she left, and that spa business went to Tingsboro, we're losing businesses because of the fact that we have a certain type of people that are downtown that are causing havoc with. I was down to Fuji's the other day, and people approach me for money as well. That's not a good sign for people that are downtown. The businesses, we want to keep them here. They put their heart and soul and sweat into putting all that money, and now they're gone. We got to look for a solution. Thank you.
So,
You can go first. So downtown need foot traffic, not just during the day, but at night, not just during the weekday, weekend. To do that, the upper floor, go around and look. A number of those upper floor was not taken care of, was not renovated. So the city administration just recently having the DPD work with the property owner upstairs, more like a carrot and stick. We will help you apply for state grant, federal grant to renovate upper floor. That is foot traffic for the business downstairs. Not during the day, not only during the day, at night and weekend. With foot traffic, you have a busy downtown. Parking, we have a couple parking lot, in the downtown. Parking, because there's no foot traffic there, our parking deficit, $1 or $2 million every year. We cannot do this. We need to do better. We need to do a carrot and stick for the property owner in downtown so that they renovate the upper floor, create foot traffic to help their businesses in downtown. The city have done enough, done in terms of helping small business in downtown.
So there are two things that come to mind. There's a term, value proposition, and shared vision. And I think as we talk about economic development, we need to understand what is Lowell's value proposition. What is it that we do well? What is it that we don't do well? What are our opportunities and what are our threats? We need to have a business plan for the downtown. We have a Lowell plan and we have a comprehensive plan, but I think we really need specifically a business plan for our small businesses downtown. Lowell is not going to be like other cities. It has its own unique character, and so we need to better understand what it is it's going to help this community thrive. The LDFC has received funding to do some building facades. I specifically am a board member with Entrepreneurship for All, E4All. I started my business through that incubator program. The city of Lowell is starting a retail incubator program. Their MCC has a small business launch program. And so there are a lot of good bones when it comes to entrepreneurism and economic development in the city of Lowell, but we have to make sure that there are stronger public-private partnerships. That's the pathway. And I talked about that when I was president of the Center City Committee in 2010. I live downtown, I'm a business owner, and I think I am very positioned to lead this issue as your next counselor. Thank you.
We're going to move on to candidate closing statements. Candidates will each receive 1 minute for their closing statements, and we'll start with candidate Belanger.
Okay. Well, thank you again to LTC and Lowell Votes for this opportunity. It's greatly appreciated as a candidate. And, well, to the voters of Lowell, I share a very optimistic appraisal of the city of Lowell as to where we're at and where we can go under the proper leadership. Now, we have issues, but I believe strongly for a city our size, we're doing much better than most. I truly believe that. As I talked about, my top priorities will be worked on very diligently. The homeless crisis, holding the line on taxes, public safety, all top priorities. But I'm very positive where the city could go and who we can be. So I humbly ask for one of your votes. The choice is yours on November 7th, but I ask you to vote for Corey Belanger, number 3 on your ballot at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you, LTC, Lowell Votes, and all of you, obviously, for coming out, and the 5 candidates for sharing their ideas with all of us. 2 years ago, I decided to run for city council because I had the same concerns as all of you about our neighborhoods, about our police, about our fire, about everything that was going on, about our government being run into the ground and not being able to hire employees. I decided to run. I don't get paid to do this. I do this because I wanted to make a difference. I hope in the last year and 9 months I was able to make a difference with motions and challenging people to do better at what they did. Going forward, I hope and I respectfully ask all of you for one of your votes, but to me, this isn't a campaign on who can shake the best hand. I have 34 years of municipal experience. I was on a school board at Greater Lowell Tech. I have worked extremely hard at policies and getting things done, and I'm hoping to continue that after this election on November 7th. And I ask you all again for one of your 3 votes.
Thank you very much. Again, I thank LTC, I thank Lowell Votes, and especially the people that took time to come here and make a wise choice. I hope one of your wise choices on November 7th, on the first Tuesday in November, would be one of my votes for me, for one of your 3 votes to be for me. Thank you so much. I don't profess before you to know all the answers. I don't know all the answers, but I'm doing the best that I can for 28 years to listen to you and bring your message to City Hall. I enjoy what I do. I love people, and I love to solve things. You know, as a mother, you try to correct things and say, don't do this, don't do that. Well, I bug the city and they get things done for me because that's my strategy that I use. So thank you very much for listening to me. I enjoyed it for 28 years. Please let me reach number 30. Thank you.
Candidate New.
So thank you again, LTC, and thank you.
Candidate
oh.
New.
Thank you. Thank you, LTC. Thank you, Lowell. Thank you, all of you here and at home. I'm here because of your trust. You trust in me and you vote for me. This will be my 5th term. I come back now to ask for your trust again. Your vote, one of your 3 votes, November 7th. Thank you.
Wow, I think I'm going to get vulnerable for a second. The decision to run again was not an easy one, and not one that came lightly. And there were many times where I thought that I didn't want to run again. Lowell can be very, in politics specifically, can be very harsh. And sometimes it feels like people can't work with each other. It's not just a local thing, it's happening nationally, and we're seeing it every day. And so I told myself if I was going to run again, and obviously I am, that I'm going to run to make a better team, to be part of a better team, and to be part of a council that wants to make Lowell better and look forward and think about solutions not just 30 years ago, but 10, 15 years from now. As I said in my opening statement, we can do better. And so the question that everyone will have on November 7th is, which one of us will be able to do better for Lowell tomorrow, 10 years from now? And I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you for the opportunity, and have a great night.
Thank you, LTC, and thank you, Jasmine, for moderating this event. So I see our campaign as the catalyst of galvanizing our community together to address mental health issues, housing, our local economy, as well as education. So if elected as City Council, I'm committed to rolling up my sleeve, work hard, and work collaboratively with the city manager and other city councilor to address these issues. And I'm definitely determined to prevent any unnecessary fees and tax on our citizens, on our constituents. And I really want to focus on transparency. I feel like we need to improve on transparency in the way we do things in City Hall. So I want to focus on that. And yeah, I truly believe that together we can build a better and brighter Lowell. So I humbly ask for your vote on November 7th as one of the 3 votes for City Council at large. So thank you so much and have a great night. And thank you for being here, for being engaged in this process.
That concludes our programming. Thank you to everyone who came out tonight to join us in person, and to those who are joining us virtually. I also want to thank all the candidates for showing up tonight, and the Lowell Telemedia Center and our partners for their support in helping us put this event together. Election Day, as several of our candidates have stated, is Tuesday, November 7th. Early voting will take place October 25th to November 3rd in the Mayor's Reception Room, which is the second floor of Lowell City Hall. For information on how to vote by mail, you can visit the Lowell Votes website at lowellvotes.org. You can check your polling location at the Secretary of State's website at wheredoivote.ma. This is our first of our candidate forum series. Our next forum is on October 12th at 6 p.m. with City Council candidates for Districts 3, 6, 7, and 8. You can join us in person at Pollard Memorial Library or on local access on channels 8 and 26. Thank you again for joining us and have a good evening.